And we're live. Welcome back to Draw 2 of the U21 Royal Slam here in Kitchener-Waterloo. It seems like the men are looking to keep it a little bit open while we start off here. So it looks like Chris is asking Chris to throw one to the wings, just in the house. Nice shot there by Chris. Looks like you're gonna see Matthew ask, I believe it's Wyatt, to make the nose hit on the yellow stone. And it looks like Chris is asking Cameron to make a nose hit, maybe even a roll to the middle a little bit. Seems like both teams are content on playing this end open, and I mean, we saw a similar thing in the draw one for the ladies. I mean, it's never a bad thing when you haven't had a lot of competition time to play the first end or two, or just play them open so that you're able to kind of shake the rust off and get back to it. It's a little bit of a mistake here, but I don't know if it will result in anything. It depends on if the guard is called. And it looks like Matt is going to call for the centerline guard. So it seems like potentially Team Prenevost is looking to push the envelope a little bit, make the opposition come to them, and play to the middle. So it'll be interesting to see here once the shot comes to rest. If it is a guard, it'll be interesting to see what Team Inglis is going to do with it, if they're going to come around or if they're going to peel it. I have a sneaking suspicion you might see them peel it if it rests outside the rings. I believe it just fell short outside of the rings. So it looks like another peel is going to be called here by Chris. Just enough to hang around, but I mean that rock is pretty hard to use out there. So you'll see Matthew call for another centerline guard. It's interesting to see that he's throwing that same sort of counterclockwise rotation to get to the center line. I wonder if they would ever consider switching it up, because it's almost like a free shot in that end to maybe figure out the ice a little bit. And it seems like in opposition to the ladies, the men tend to throw the counterclockwise rotation more. Like that one slipped into the house, and we got a hit and roll out from Team Inglis. It seems like the guys are just content with hopefully blanking this end. I mean, it's never a bad way to start a curling game. Kind of get all the kinks out. So I believe this call was top 4 by Matt. So it looks like the guys are calling a tight guard, expecting it to really come off once it hits that break point. So it'll be interesting to see what Team Inglis does with this. I mean, if they wanted to attempt for the deuce and they know the path in practice, they could always come around. Seems like Chris from the other end is kind of thinking that, well, it's a good time in the end to potentially get a skipper's deuce. It's pretty wide open, had a bit of an unforced error by Team Prenevost, so they're thinking, come around, sink in, get top 8, top 4. It'll really force a good shot from their opposition. Bit of an unfortunate error there. It seemed to just really take off on them. The weight looked probably about top 8 foot, which was in and around what they were looking for, and it seems like now that a little bit of unforced error was made, rolled to the center, looks like we're going to see Matt and Team Prenevost try to come around that tight zone 3 yellow guard. It seems like they're just maybe taking a little bit extra ice, knowing that the tolerance is to get by the guard. considering you're coming around an opposition stone, the last thing you would want to do is maybe be tight, raise them in, and give them a chance at a deuce. Now this is just probably a foot or two past draw to the button paths, which is what they would throw in practice, so they should have a close idea as to the weight and speed, but as we saw in the last draw, it could speed up a little bit. So really trying to make it curl here with Wyatt on the inside. Oh, it's really moving for them. If they can get it in there, it'll be a nice shot. It's a very nice team shot. You love to see those both early in the tournament as well as early in the season. They didn't get it fully buried, but it still asks the question of Chris to navigate this kind of hit and roll out with a guard in play. It's one of those things, as if there are some curlers listening to me, it's one of those things where just having it in the line of sight can sometimes be a little bit challenging, more mentally than anything else, but Chris can throw it pretty good and pretty straight, so we'll see a blank attempt here. And you hate to see it. I think it's one of those things, you hate to see a miss like that, but it's early season, and throwing that kind of weight, it's great when you make contact, but you need to make sure that you're accurate with your delivery. But I mean, 1 point in the first end of the first game in this tournament isn't going to make or break any team. So it's good to get those kind of shots out of the way now. And maybe we'll see a little bit more of an aggressive game style coming up soon. Unlike the ladies' first draw, looking across the sheets right now, there is a lot of action across all the sheets. Lots of rocks in play, guards, come-arounds, hit and rolls. So lots of action. The men may be a little bit less patient than the women, and they're looking to get after it right away. So like I said before, these guys are really going after it. I mean, I love to see the rocks in play across all the sheets, not afraid to throw corner guards. And I think the other thing that this indicates is that both teams felt really comfortable in their pregame practice. Because most likely if the teams were struggling with maybe a couple spots or they weren't feeling super confident, you might see a couple ends of blanking like we saw in the previous match. But this game, the guys are ready to go for it. And I mean, it's great to see Team Inglis sitting one behind that corner guard, looking to set up a multiple score. Wyatt's coming out. I believe that is Wyatt. Throwing an out turn. I believe it was a freeze, potentially a bit of a tap. So they're really going for line here. So just a little bit of a missed line call there, I think, from Matthew. But again, it's early, and they're still figuring out the patterns that the ice give. I mean, the one thing that Sam and I talked about last game was how playing and navigating that center line area is so crucial. If you're on the center line or you're trying to cross it, expect it to hold pretty true. And then once most of your rock is over that line, it'll start to walk over. And with that higher weight, it just takes that little bit more time to do that. So it looks like Chris is trying to split the house here with an in-turn draw. They're really going for line. Seem to really move there at the end, coming off of the center line area. So the other thing I've noticed Team Inglis doing, which I don't mind, is they have like a little huddle or a group meeting at the start or in and around the start of each end. And I think that's good early season when you're still feeling things out and trying to understand maybe tendencies of new players or communicate ice paths. I feel that having those meetings is a great opportunity to have those sorts of helpful learning conversations. So part of me, I believe I've been saying Wyatt is Cameron. So that was Cameron's second stone. And it looks like he's trying to come around the center. Line is really close. They seem to navigate that hole. But it just seems to be a little bit too heavy to sit for shot stone. So a little bit more difficulty navigating that area of the ice, and especially now that we've had a few unforced errors, the free guard zone's getting a little bit clogged. So if I'm the team with Hammer, well, we'll talk about Team Prenevost. So if I'm the team without Hammer, you want to clog up that center line area. So getting one behind that center line guard is probably a pretty good call, but the question isn't what is the call, it's how do you get there. So, and I think Matt thinks it's harder to navigate between that red and yellow. I think he's thinking of navigating between both Yellowstones. And I mean, this is a great early season thing to do. If you are unsure about what the call is, go talk about it. Don't yell 140 feet down the ice. Get closer to each other and kind of communicate as to what you expect. So that's definitely good to hear. So it seems that they ended up at top fourth, and it seems like they're throwing the in-turn. So a little bit more of a tighter hole to get through, but I guess it just comes down to Austin's preference. So it'll be interesting to see how much it moves here, because I think we've only seen 1 or 2 stones down this path so far. The sweepers are calling it to be a little bit light. And it looks like they wanted to add another one to all of the rocks in the front of the house, or front of the free guard zone. So if I'm Team Inglis, I'm thinking 2 things. I'm thinking I need to make sure that I score. And obviously, as they have hammer, they're looking for multiple. So it seems like Chris is wanting to go after that yellow stone, either freeze to it, maybe tap it back a bit, try to get shot stone or in the vicinity of shot stone. I think another call, if they were to look back on this game, I think another call I wouldn't mind seeing is some sort of peel to clear up the center. Because right now, Team Inglis is sitting shot. And I goofed that, so my apologies. They're throwing yellow stones, so they're just looking to freeze to that stone. But I think the other thing that Team Inglis needs to be wary about is that center, because once someone gets in there lost behind all of those guards, it could take 1 or 2 stones to clear it out and give the skipper a last shot. So I think we see Team Prenevost calling either, I believe it was the double, it could be the hit and roll, but looking to eliminate some opposition stones from the scoring area. Sweepers are on and off. Love to see that. Very nice shot. Great shot by Austin there to really get the team out of a bit of a pickle. They hung around on the edge. So I think we're going to see Chris gesture to Sam to make the move on that red stone and roll into the center. And because the teams have chose to kind of leave the guards out front, it really is a race to the middle. And the first team to get in there, they'll be sitting pretty. So this is Austin's second stone. Looking for an in-turn hit and roll. I think that they have John on sweep, I believe. I mean, they removed it, and it's, considering the configuration of the guards, it's actually not in a half bad spot. If it's not in, it's definitely tappable. So I think that's something Team Prenevost needs to be cautious of. It seems like they're going for, I think they want a nose hit here. So, but they must be throwing a pile of weight with that ice. So, a pretty good result for Team Prenevost there. I think the only thing they were hoping to do was to hit and stick to make it much more difficult for Team Inglis to come around and get into the heavily guarded center. So a pretty nice come around by Chris and team there. It's fully buried. It is behind the tee line, which provides Matt and team an opportunity to freeze on it, potentially get shot stone, and force Chris into the same sort of draw. So overall, this is a pretty important shot for Team Prenevost. If they can make it to the face of that Yellowstone at freeze, it's going to be pretty tough for Chris to get in there for a multiple score. He could have either a tap or maybe a wide draw to get in there to score. But we'll have to wait and see. Team Prenevost's final stone. The sweepers seem to be on it. I don't know if it's more for weight. Great communication by Team Prenevost. That is one heck of a team shot this early in the season. Wasn't a lot of room for error. Very well communicated all the way down. You could tell the sweepers were managing the stone. They knew they had to go for weight. The line caller was calling line. Very well managed stone, leaving Chris to a little bit more of a difficult shot. But it is the same one, and he has thrown it, and he's going to need to get full 4-foot to score the single.
So a steal of 1 there. Even though they're up 2, they're calling the guard, keeping the aggression going. looks like another aggressive end we're going to have. Might be the theme of this game. As Matthew is calling for a draw around the two center guards. Looks like Chris Inglis is calling for a heavy draw tap to try to get the shot stolen. An important shot, because if this isn't made, they're going to get trapped and have to throw some heels. Just rubs off the guard. So as the theme is our women's draw earlier was thrown a ton towards the center line. Matt is calling the center guard to block the run back, it seems. G3 timeout. So the call was to guard the run back, and it looks like it is doing exactly that. Well done. You're probably going to see Chris call appeal. Inglis is chasing a little bit. But if this is made, it makes the end a little bit easier for the skipper. Matthew is calling the draw to the top forefoot to continue to put the pressure on. Looks like it is curling hard towards the center line. So they decide to throw up another guard. And I think Chris has no option but to peel again. Hopefully some more stones go flying this time. Those two red stones are now open for the time being. Center guard being called. This was the fastest path in the women's draw. So it'll be interesting to see if that trend keeps going. I like the communication from thrower to sweeper. Just discussing what times they need to make this shot. Big sweep to get this over the hog line to continue to put the pressure on. A little higher and curled a little more than they wanted to. Chris is still calling the peel, so job. If you hit this in the right spot, those yellows go back towards the red, so this could turn out well for Team Inglis. Should be close. It's a great shot. Not only did the shooter stick around, but it opens up the center for Chris to be able to score. So at this point, there's no blank in play. But for Matthew, he's going to want to put this full forefoot, almost fully buried. Would be a perfect spot to continue to put the pressure on.
All
big
right,
shot
Sam.
here.
What's the play, skipper?
Draw. You're going to see Chris probably draw the top button, full 4 at least to be shot stone. It's going to be hard to get your deuce, but at this point you want to get your single. The only thing with the hit and roll is, yeah, you do have a chance to get more multiple, but I think you need to focus on scoring.
So you're thinking,
Oh, this creative. No, if it's made, you're sitting 2, one's buried.
I mean, it is not.
It's not an easy shot.
But I guess tolerance, if you're playing the shot, you're thinking wrecking on the high red guard isn't terrible because then it opens up your draw with backing.
Yeah, I don't think he's thrown a lot of weight considering the red is over buried. And I think he just looked in the hack and slid back down. So I think we're going to see a change of shot here. And yeah, this is the right call. Draw the top 4 foot, make sure you score 1. If you get a miss, you might be able to get your deuce.
I've played Chris a few times, and I don't know why, but my eye was like red, yellow to make the red double. I can see, like, I know it's a very low percentage shot, but I can see that being a Chris shot. And I know he has the ability to throw it, but I think this is the higher percentage, most likely to be made, and most beneficial shot to make.
Yeah, this is absolutely the call, and I think as soon as he looked at it in the hack, he realized.
Yeah. And I think we said this in our last game, Sam, but still good on him. Went down to the hack on the other end, wanted to change the call, went back to consult with the vice.
This is good line if it has the legs. Oh, it's a great shot. It's perfect.
Yeah, very nice shot. Good team shot.
Yeah. All Matthew can do is play the freeze and make it very hard for Team Inglis to score 2.
Yeah.
Anyways, big freeze here.
The freeze has to be one of those shots in curling that look so innocent, but are so difficult because it's a combination of the right line with the right weight at the right time in the right path. And yes, I said right way too many times there. But
it's a full team shot, is basically what you're saying.
Exactly. And I think they've seen this path just be thrown, hopefully use those stopwatches, maybe get a hog to hog, and try to use that information to make this team shot.
Now, if you had to pick a way to miss it, light is not bad.
Yes.
Solely because it's going to be hard for Chris to get in there for 2. Looks like he's going to have to go out wide.
Yeah.
On the right side of your screen, or he's going to have to play an in off the red on the right side. Unless he wants to go down the middle and play the tap.
That's true. You could always play it down the middle. I mean, it's there for 3, but I think the draw is the higher percentage shot.
Yep. Yeah, with the right weight, this should curl enough where you can get full 4 foot for your deuce.
Yeah.
Skipper's deuce.
We saw one of those in our earlier game by Team Thorn. So, I mean, if he can make this one, the skips are really here to play. I know it's early, but it would be good to see. Big confidence booster.
I think it grabbed out of his hand.
Hate to see that.
So it'll be 1 yellow for Team Inglis. A very similar score as our first game today.
I swear, they see us, Sam, and they say, let's make it close, let's have a battle, and let's have some fun. And it's great to see. So quickly taking a look across the sheets, we have sheet 5 listed on the website. We moved them over to sheet 1 due to ice maintenance. And on sheet 1, we have a very close one with Hocevar leading Niepage 2-0. Niepage has Hammer playing the third end. On sheet 2, we have a 1-1 tie between Dobson and Bryant. Bryant having Hammer in the fourth end. On the third end, on sheet 3, we have a 5-1 Team Mitchell lead over Team Massey, with Team Massey having Hammer in the fourth. And on sheet 6, we have a 4-0 lead for Team Goves over Team Malima. Malima having Last Rock playing the fourth end.
So we're continuing the theme of having every rock in play, it seems.
I mean, why not? If you can't throw enough, throw the kitchen sink too.
It does make it more entertaining for us.
Exactly. So I think it's...
Chris called the freeze here, and it looks like it's coming up a couple feet light, but it keeps that good angle where it's going to be tough to hit out.
If you're Team Inglis in that scenario, Sam, do you like that call, or are there any other potential calls?
Well, with your first center guard over curling, I like the freeze. You could, with how high the guard is, you could have thrown a hack waiter.
Mm-hmm.
You could also throw a center guard, like what Team Thorn was doing earlier today.
Yep.
And being aggressive. I like the freeze, though. Unacceptable. Looks like a lightweight hit.
little bit heavy from Cameron. Squeaks by. I think they were looking for like a little rub there. And it looks like it just sailed through.
Interesting spot for Chris now. Yeah, I know he's got to play the tap freeze. Back 8 weight. Just try to junk it up at this point.
I think it's really interesting to see how willing Team Inglis is to play around that corner guard in the fourth end without hammer. I mean, from my curling experience, it's not the most traditional play. But, I mean, if you're successful and you're making the shots, it works for you, right? So.
Yeah, I think he was a little forced as they made the perfect draw around the corner guard. That's the second rock in a row that we've seen
go deep there.
Deep there. I think with a little bit more weight, the rocks are running a lot straighter than the skips are seeing.
Yeah.
That's the weight he wanted because he called the tap, but just under curled. So we're going to see another attempt on the tap and roll under.
I don't think we're going to see Team Prenevost raise Chris's stone onto theirs.
No, but
tap and roll under. Sorry, I thought you meant tap.
They're trying to tap it. They're trying to tap it to the open and roll under the corner.
I gotcha. I think that's the right call. I mean, because it is that top 12 yellow stone that's going to do you
it's
the
your
most
problem
damage.
Stone, yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like they're trying to tap it on the
like chisel and roll.
Chisel and roll to the back forefoot, maybe.
It worked out. Everyone back here is like head side to side. I mean, it could have been a little bit worse if it ended up higher and left a double. But I think you're going to see Chris make a play on that back button redstone.
Yeah, try to hit and roll to where you're still shot, but roll underneath that yellow on the top 12 is what they're going to want to do. Really close. It's a pretty good shot.
It is, I think.
I think it's half tucked.
Yeah.
It's about half.
Yeah, I think if I'm Team Prenevost, I'm thinking of moving that one back to maybe sit 1 and 2 partially tucked and force Chris into maybe moving that top 12 Yellowstone into that pile.
Yeah, I like the freeze tap. If you end up rubbing off that one in the top 12 and rolling to 8 foot second and third, Team Inglis is going to have to hit. So there's a lot of ways you can miss this, and there's obviously a lot of ways you can make a good shot.
Really big sweep by Cameron here to try to hold the line for them.
It's a really good sweep. That rock went like 2 or 3 feet farther than I expected it to.
Yeah, I think, Sam, it left it in a usable place for them. So I think Chris might try to move it or be forced to move it.
I think he's going to guard. Yeah. This way, like, his rock is fully buried. Those red ones are a little staggered where they can't make the run back perfect and stick.
Mm-hmm.
So if he throws like a 2-guard, makes it quite difficult for Prenevost.
So Sam asked for the zone 2 guard.
That's what I did. Yes, that's what I asked you. Chris asked for this though too.
Of Sam, yeah. Like Chris was asked.
Chris is
sure. Yeah.
Chris is the skip.
Yeah, I know, but that was Sam's guard.
Yeah.
But not you, Sam.
No.
So I think I like this play by Matt to try to open it up and give them a better chance at a multiple score here. That was a much needed nice shot by Austin. Really opens up that control zone that we've talked about a little bit so far, and I think you'll see Chris try to suck one in there, maybe top 4 foot, try to sit 2, force another difficult shot onto Team Prenevost.
I agree.
I'm honored for your agreeance. So,
if you could, the perfect shot would be biting top 4 foot, kind of Christmas treeing that hole where they can't hit shot stone.
Yeah.
If you were playing in a perfect world. How wide it is, I think it's important to be at least second shot here.
Yeah.
They are. So just off nose, make both yellows disappear. Be a good shot.
See if Austin can bail the guys out of some trouble here.
It's close.
Yeah, it's very close.
Just over top. It's still a great shot. It puts even more pressure on Team Inglis as red is sitting 1, 2, 3. Yeah. You have to commit to the draw / guard.
Yeah, I don't think hitting or moving any of those red stones or freezing them. Like I think the play is into the center, and I mean if your opposition keeps making run back doubles, there's only so much you can protect against.
It's true. I don't mind the board weight hit if you can get to the inside. That is a really high guard, and you're eliminating a stone. Even if you nose, you're still eliminating a red rock, which being down 1 in the 4th, it depends how aggressive you want to be. If there's a 6th then, I'd definitely be throwing the guard / straw.
Yeah.
The 4th, you definitely have to discuss throwing the hit.
I think my only concern for Team Inglis is if they wreck on that top yellow guard and move it, then it'll be like that hole that you have to navigate for Team Prenevost. It could be gone and just more of a wide open hit. Sit 3, but looks like they're going for the hit. So
I like the hit. I think there's a lot of weight. Like as long as you can get to nose, it's never going to hurt you.
Yeah.
And that hole, though, it definitely is bigger than it looks on the screen. you're still eliminating stone because you're okay with giving up 2. You don't love it, but
Sure.
if you play the draw and it doesn't go well, you're probably giving up 3, maybe 4. Big sweep here by John. Just gets by.
Great sweep.
It's a really good roll too.
Yeah, it rolled to almost, well, the perfect spot, really.
Let's see if they keep making run back doubles. At this point, you could throw through the hole with like a board weight and get to nose. I think the run back's the call. Because when you're up 1, if you're team Prenevost, you just want to score at this point. So if you don't make the run back, make the peel. Chris has to make a good draw. Team Inglis has to make a good draw or guard.
Yeah.
To keep the pressure on. Big sweep here by Martin.
To hold the line.
I think at this point you gotta get off and roll the.
And I think it rolled to a spot to protect their other one, but I think Team Ingles would be guarding their top button stone.
Yeah. Big sweep by Team Ingles there to get it over the hog line, but it looks like there is a shot for at least 1 with board weight.
I think the one thing that, like, when it comes to throwing through a port like that, you have to commit to it, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that conversation between your vice and the skip is super important. And I always had one vice when I played mixed curling. Whenever there was a hole that she wanted us to go through, she said, "Skipper, you can drive a truck through that." So I think they seem confident on the through the hole shot, and I think it is their best and only shot really at 2.
It's their only shot to score. Is through the hole. So it's interesting what weight he chose by the broom placement. I'm going to say it's a board plus maybe. These are shots at the beginning of a season that you like to have.
Yeah.
Some learning experiences. Confidence builders.
Well, it's a shot that the team can turn to later on in their season. They say, guys, we've seen this before and we've made it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So.
This is gonna need a curl. Trying to make it curl. Got through the hole.
It's close. Nice
Great shot
shot.
for two. Confidence builder, as we talked about.
Yeah. I hear one of the parents in the back saying, "Did Matt make that?" Yes, he did. It was a very nice shot.
Huge 2 points in the fourth and to go up 4-1. Team Inglis has hammer going into the fifth.
A big confidence booster, especially when you have to be very precise when you're going through a hole to make a shot like that. So good team shot. Big sweep here to try to get, I think, a zone 2 or 3 bird. Trying to drag it in.
Just a bit of an over curl there. And as the theme is continuing, rocks in play, which we like. It gives teams more of an opportunity to work on their angles and their run backs. Big sweep here by Wyatt. And if the yellow sneaks out, it is mission accomplished, which it does. And now red is shot.
Could hear some of the players out there commenting that maybe they're just a little rusty.
It's the fun part about having mics on the ice.
We catch it all.
Capture it all. Line looks good here for John. It looks like it's jumping off the center line, as we saw in the first game a lot. It's going to peek out the other side, but still a risky hit, as it's still at least a quarter buried.
Sam, I gotta say, I love this play. The team understands that they have an established bail point, and if the early game isn't setting up for them, they're not afraid to peel the guard. I think that's something that just junior curling overall, knowing when to peel the guard, is a game changer.
Absolutely. You have a 3-point lead. You're okay giving up 2. You don't love it.
Yeah.
But this is absolutely the safe call. It looks like this is over curling. Might make the run back.
Not ideal, but the yellow is now exposed.
Also
So-
guards the red a little bit. That hole isn't very big to make the hit. Chris understanding that, playing the draw to the top 4 or 5. Just get another yellow in play, put another one in the rings, put pressure on.
Yeah, force your opposition to do something with it.
Yeah. So a hit and roll out for Team Prenevost. Team Inglis is going to try and navigate this port. It's a very similar port that I've seen before.
Oh, Sam.
Looks like they're throwing control here.
Yeah. I don't mind the wait call.
Yeah, I like it. Really goods off that center line quickly. I think Ben Hebert wasn't holding that one.
Yeah, well, it was something that I brought up earlier is just that center line you were talking about last game. Once it crosses it, you better get ready. It's going to go.
Mm-hmm. And that port just got a lot tighter, too.
Yeah, I don't even...
It's still there.
Yeah,
With how much it curls off the center, you just have to cross the center line at a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that yellow one is even really in play, I guess, technically. But...
For Prenevost, I think you, at this point, you either play the short run back, you guard, or you draw the top 4 foot. I think are your 3 options. I don't think they would gonna look at the run back at this point. And looking on their sheet, that hole is bigger than it looks on the screen.
And it looks like they brought in the extra mine, which is good. They coached. They called a timeout. Going to talk about it a little bit.
I like this timeout. It's an important end. You're up 3. You want to make sure you get your force. Especially if there's confusion, why not bring the coach out? That was a great timeout. Decided to play the wide draw to try to get to second shot. And this is going to be a very fresh path, so this rock could just stop abruptly, which it looks like it is. Big sweep, though.
Trying to bring it into the house, even if it's not second shot. Every biter counts. They count on the scoreboard. I think it just...
angles here. Probably looks like he's trying to throw control, maybe?
Through the hole?
Yeah. Like I said, the hole does look tight on the camera, but in the hack, you got at least a rock and a half. Big sweep here. Getting that guard is obviously a good miss, as that red turns to a very lonely red. And I like this draw call. One, you keep the pressure on. You could Christmas tree it to where Chris can't hit and roll under. Or even if you put it full button or biting top button, Chris can't hit and roll to be shot. A lot of tolerances here, like if you miss light, you're guarding. So I like this call a lot.
Yeah, you read my mind, Sam. I think if it ends up like it's, and I I think that's going to be communicated amongst the team. If this ends up short, that's still a really good outcome for them. Yep, there it is, signaled to us. So.
Important shot here. You don't want the momentum to change. So making the shot would be really good to keep the uptrend going for Team Prenevost.
Yeah, I think momentum is something that is really hard to quantify outside of just the scoreboard itself. And I think looking at the scoreboard, looking at how well Team Prenevost has played, you want to keep that roll going. So.
It's diving towards that center guard.
Cameron and Wyatt doing everything. Just ticked. But like we were saying, Sam, it's still rolled out. So now it's not just a wide open hit. They have to move 2 rocks.
Yeah, they have to move 2 rocks and not leave their yellow where there's an easy double.
Yeah.
Don't think you'd be able to roll that far and make the double. But first mission, as keeping it simple, is to make the double and then try to focus on the roll.
An unfortunate,
Just didn't curl up there.
yeah, little under curl in that spot. I think you're going to see Matt play the same shot. That in-turn draw, try to Christmas tree it. And sit 2, force Chris and Team Inglis to make a really difficult last shot.
Yeah, I think they take an inch or 2 more ice. Guard is interesting. I didn't mind the draw. Put more pressure on them. If you can somehow put this biting top button kind of Christmas treat, it's really hard for Chris to score.
Yeah.
For Team Inglis to score.
I agree, Sam. I think this is one of those instances where second shot is almost as good as a guard. And putting it in a position that can make it really tough for Team Inglis to score.
Yeah, I think playing the guard, one, guards aren't as easy as they look. If you don't put the guard in the right spot, you give Chris a chance for 2, Team Inglis a chance for 2. And they're right back in the game and the momentum shifts.
Yep.
I think you absolutely should be playing the draw here. And I think that's what Matt wants. And I think they've decided on the draw after a quick conversation. And
yeah.
For Austin, I like that he's bringing up the guard. because it puts that in the back of Matt's mind when he's throwing. And just for communication-wise, discussing everything is important on team shots like this.
Yeah, and I think this is an example of having a good habit. Like, this shot is obviously important, but a good habit now like this early in the season hopefully continues to get repeated and reused in more important events later on in their season.
Absolutely. Keeping in mind pace of play.
Of course.
Line looks good.
It's really close for line.
As long as their second shot, though they rubbed, it's in a perfect spot where Chris is going to have to throw a draw now. He can't throw a hit.
Yeah, I mean, again, and I think that's the benefit to throwing that side. Anything short really does make it more difficult for Chris and the rest of his team to get in there for their point.
Absolutely. Big shot here. The wider you go out, the straighter it seems to be. So it'd be hard to put the broom down here.
I think this shot also has a lot on the line in terms of momentum. I mean, Team Prenevost has played a pretty solid few ends so far, but if Team Inglis can make this shot, it shows that they're right there with them.
Now, weight is important, but I think line is generally more important as long as you have. Solely because, I mean, you're not going to... Oh, caught the fresh stuff.
Yeah, just out that little bit wider.
Because you could throw hack and make that shot, but like we said, when you get a little wider, it gets straighter, it gets slower. It's not in that really fast path that we've seen.
So an update across the sheets while we have a moment. So we have Team Bryant leading Team Dobson 3-2, with Team Bryant having hammer in the 6th. We have Team Mitchell leading Team Massey 5-2, with Team Mitchell having hammer in the 6th end. On sheet 1, we have Team Hocevar leading Team Neopage 6-3, with Team Neopage having hammer playing the 6th end. And then on sheet 6, we have Team Goes leading 5-1 over Team Malima. Team Malima has hammer playing 6. I believe Matt was hoping that Wyatt could bring that one into the house, but it just seems to be that those Wyatt stones tend to overcurl a bit. So maybe something to consider, whether it be a release or potentially a stone difference, perhaps.
And
something
being the first tournament, you know, it's a little bit of rust, and also like, Matt's learning how to put the broom down in the right spot for his players. Could be throughout the season. Wyatt's rocks curl more than the rest of the team, so he just needs to give a little more ice. And I like this call.
I was going to say, I love this call. I think this is the right call. There's no point in time where if your team makes a bit of a mistake execution-wise, there's no reason why you can't right it if you have the stones to do so. So I think this is a good peel call by Matt, recognizing the situation. They're up. They don't need many more rocks in play.
Unfortunate circumstance there. didn't quite roll out as far as they want. And for Team Inglis, I think they got to focus on making after a miss there. Take advantage of their double corner guards. This is a big end for them. Being down 5, you definitely want to score more than 2.
Seems like they're gonna.
Yeah, they changed up. They called another corner guard. 5-rock rule. It makes sense. So good setup for Team Inglis. When you're down 5, rocks in play, whether they're center or corner guards, are good rocks to have. Because obviously at this point with 3 ends left to play, and if you think about it, you have 2 more hammers. You want to at least score 2 here, preferably 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think at this point for Team Inglis, any rock is a good rock. Behind the tee, in the guard zone, anything they can use to manufacture multiple is very important for them.
Yeah. Yeah. So you agree with what I said?
I mean, sure.
So Sam trying to make this curl. And we do know when it crosses center, it does fly. It's trying. Really good weight by John. It just didn't quite curl up. And for Team Prenevost, you really want to hit and roll to the edge of the 4-foot where it's wide open. You're cutting the score area down. This rook is tracking. Unfortunate miss, and for Team Inglis, they have to talk about what they want to do here. I don't mind the tap and roll under.
Yeah.
You'll have 1 rock buried. You'll put the other one in the back 8, back 12 foot. It's kind of like a split. Yes, 1 rock will be open, but you'll have 1 buried top 8 foot that you want to focus on.
Yeah.
Like if you could tap that, back there, even all the way back to back 12 foot, it's a really good shot. And we talked about makes after misses. It's another important shot for Team Inglis.
Yeah, and if Team Inglis can get one behind that set of guards, it does bring a 3 spot into play. So, very big shot here by John.
Very mature call by Matt there, playing the open hit. You didn't want to get sucked into playing the freeze when you're up 5.
But this is where a successful split brings in the possibility for a 3. If they can suck another one around there, Matt will have a tricky time dealing with those 2 counter stones. So the call was it 2 at Sam or top 8 foot?
Behind the 3 guards.
Anywhere behind the 3 guards.
They're calling back 12, I heard from John, so they're going to want to bring this to make sure it is back 12. You don't want to leave this above the yellow, but you want to make sure your second shot. And that really grabbed, I think, on them.
Yeah, it seemed like it just stopped sliding.
Seems like they're having a hard time burying a rock here. I think it's, we see that it really hangs on to that center line until it crosses.
Yeah.
So important hit here by Austin.
It's that center line, eh?
Absolutely. If you're Team Inglis, I'd love to just draw here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris is on the same page.
Got the earpiece in.
Yeah. I just think you can't, you want to score more than 2. Obviously, you'll take 2, but get another one buried and put the pressure back on Team Prenevost.
Well, and I think the other thing Team Inglis is doing is they're looking at the scoreboard, and with only 3 ends left, 2 might not be enough to bring them back in it, whereas 3, they have a really good chance of being back in the mix. So I think that's another thing to keep in mind. It's looking...
As soon as it crosses center, it really slows down. Just took a while to cross center. And though a little deeper than obviously they wanted, pressure's still on for Team Prenevost to make this shot.
Yeah.
This isn't made. You can see 3 or 4 for Team Inglis.
The guys seem to be thinking it's a little heavy, so see if they can play it onto the back ones here. What are you thinking here if you're a yellow, Sam?
I think you have to play the double.
Yeah.
And hope it goes through both yellows, sit 3. Yeah, they'll all be behind T-line. But like you said, 2's acceptable, but it's not great.
Yeah.
If you want to get back into the game, you definitely want more than 2.
So then you're saying I'm right without saying I'm right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, anyways, and I think the other thing too that bodes well for Chris is he can throw these doubles, these upweight shots. He has the ability to make these rocks move, and I think if he makes the double, then Matt will either freeze onto him or try to make a double back. So I think it makes the most sense to play the double here.
Yeah. You could play the hit and roll. If they don't make the freeze, you might have a shot for 4.
True.
But I think the double's the call.
I don't know if they're playing the double with this
I think they
handle.
are.
Yeah? Close one here for the roll. Yeah, and I think that was something that if they were going for the double there, I think I would have liked to see the other handle thrown just because it has more of a natural action off of the back stone onto the side one. But I mean, that's still in a pretty decent spot.
Yeah.
And if Matthew doesn't line one up pretty good here, there might be a double opportunity for 4 yellow.
I agree. If he doesn't put this in a really good spot, there could be a double opportunity. So you have to think of tolerance on the shot if you're Matthew. Solely because light is perfectly fine. You're fine with giving up 2. You'll be up 3 with hammer with 2 ends to play. The only thing you really can't be is heavy and rub off the shot rock.
Yeah.
So you could hog this and you're still only going to give up 2. Unless Inglis plays the angle run back or something for 3 or 4, which is possible.
It is. And I mean, I guess it is something that they should consider given the score.
Yeah. No, I'm not sure if the we'll see after the rock stops.
Got Wyatt on the inside to try to hold the line here for him. It's really close.
That's a really good shot.
Yeah. Matt has had that draw weight, what seems like from the first rock.
I think it's yellow. If I had to guess. If I was a betting man. But I'd still look at that corner raise. The yellow on the top left corner. Yeah.
On the top right hand side, as you'll see it.
Yeah. The angles now kind of help them that way for 4.
True.
If it's made perfectly, the red goes over top of and that's what Chris is looking at.
Yeah.
At this point, 2, like we discussed, 2
Might
is
not be-
acceptable,
yeah.
but you have to steal 3 ends in a row most likely to win the game.
Yes.
Where this run back, you get 4, you're only down 1. And the angles help them. I like the run back.
Of course you like the run back, Sam.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
The angles are good for you. If you like, the way the Reds set up, both Reds go.
Yeah, and I mean,
Obviously it's not an easy shot, but
yeah. I mean, I've played Chris a few times. I've seen him make shots like this before. So I think it's definitely there. And I think it really comes down to how confident they are in their steal game. If they feel really confident that they can steal 2 points one end and another in the 8th, then I think the draw for 2. But if they see it, I mean, throw it. It's early season, right? There's a lot you can learn from it, either way.
first draw, probably first tournament. Oh, yeah. Probably the last rock.
Yes. So I believe they signaled 1 yellow. But I mean, I think, like you were saying, Sam, I think that is a risk they needed to take.
Alright, I think obviously Team Ingles' goal is going to have every rock in play. Try to steal the win away.
Sam, I find these positions really interesting because one team is approaching and they know they have to be aggressive. They know what the game plan is, and the other team is trying to defend. And I think it makes it maybe clearer of a goal. But you hate to see a hog drop when you're down a few points.
Yeah. Unlucky. I think that side wasn't used that whole end.
Yeah.
I think that side of the sheet kind of just sat there. I like the throw through. You're up 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think right now any rock is helping Team Ingles.
Yeah.
And if you're Team Prenevost, as much as us Canadians like to be friendly, it's good to make sure that you take care of business.
And Team Inglis has their 2 center guards set up for the try to get the steal. And Matt Prenevost is playing the Peels. Big sweep here by Wyatt, trying to make the peel. And that'll work. It's your own color behind the center. Sorry. It's your own color. Team Inglis is going to try to put a tighter guard in.
Yeah, not a bad result, Sam. I mean, opened it up like you said.
With a 4-point lead, you're just thinking of scoring. You score 1, right? That's all you need to do. Obviously, scoring more, the game will be over. But big shots here for Inglis trying to get the steal going. Going hard to get by.
A big sweep by Chris here.
Great sweep. Well, there's 2 Chris's. Pretty straightforward strategy for both teams, as we discussed. Team Inglis is gonna throw the guards. Team Prenevost is going to peel.
Yeah.
Probably until the skips last stones, or second last.
It sounds like they were calling for top 12 there, Sam.
Big double peel here for Team Prenevost. Make this and you almost secure your point.
Yeah. One thing I always made sure to tell, the one thing I made sure to tell my second is when you're throwing these double peels, don't be afraid to throw a little bit of extra rotation. Make the rocks bounce off each other more. And that is an unfortunate error there.
And like we discussed in the last end, Team Inglis needs to capitalize on the miss.
Yep.
Put this in the top 4 foot. Fully buried. So big shot by Sam. He has a great name, probably.
I do know another Sam or two, perhaps.
Same. Big sweep here by John. And Cameron?
Yeah.
That was a great sweep. And great call by Matt, just running up there. Let's make this double peel. Let's open the rings up a bit.
Try to simplify it.
Yeah.
Really big sweep for the double peel here. Nice shot.
That's a great shot.
The skipper's probably breathing a sigh of relief there. Open it up for the team.
If you're Inglis, you probably... I mean, I don't mind splitting the rings now. I might have thrown one center guard.
Yeah.
But you think you're down 4, you probably wanted him to look at least 2 stones, so...
Yeah.
That really curled, but a good sweep got it into the rings, which was the main goal for Team Inglis.
Yep, they're sitting 2, which making your opponent throw against the amount that you want to steal is never a bad thing. There's still a couple more rocks to go, but... So if you're Team Prenevost here, Sam, are you going for the nose, or are you trying to roll one way or the other?
Probably roll. You probably want to roll to the edge of the 8 foot, solely because if you nose, you could tempt Chris into drawing around to the back 4 foot, and then all of a sudden you have to draw a pin for 1.
Yeah.
So, but like we talked about in the women's game, let's just treat it like a beach ball.
Yeah.
Make sure the rock goes away. Looks like this is...
going to
try
the
to roll
roll.
it the other way. And it's a great shot.
Yeah.
Chris is going to want them to look at 2.
Yeah.
Try to roll under to make them draw.
Yeah, Matthew has had a very strong game for potentially his first game back. Draws and hits, just very solid all around.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of curlers in the world didn't get to play our sport last year, and it's a little bit of extra rust for most people. And for the first game of probably the first spiel of the season, well played game by both teams.
So speaking about that, Sam, what did your team do during that period of time off?
I know my Ottawa teammates got to play up until February in the leagues in Quebec and in Ottawa.
Cool.
I was unfortunately nursing an injury, so I didn't get to play since November 19th.
Okay.
So my first time on the ice was this 3rd week of August, since last November. So it was just a lot of rust. You go from throwing, 100 rocks a week to not throwing for 8 months. It creates a lot of rust, obviously.
Yeah.
So for the younger teams, for the junior teams that didn't get a lot of playing time, focused on their studies when COVID was going on, probably, it's just about throwing rocks again. Bringing back your routine. Communication obviously can be rusty from not talking on the ice for almost a year to all of a sudden you're back in the swing of things. And for these juniors, for these U20s, they have a really big year, having two attempts at nationals this year.
Yeah.
I think every game you play, every time you're practicing, is going to be more and more important, getting closer to those qualifiers.
Very true.
And a steal of 1 for Team Inglis, and they'll be up, or down 6-3 going into the last end.
The remainder of the games we have out on the ice are very close. On sheet 1, we have Nipaj leading. We have a technical difficulty is what we have, but a very close one. Nipaj is leading 7-6 without Hammer playing the 8th. We also have another real close one on sheet 6 with Team Malima stealing 2 and 7. It's now tied, Team Malima against Team Goves, 6 each.
Interesting call here. I wouldn't mind if Team Prenevost hit the yellow into the red and got rid of that stagger. Because yes, there's a 5-rock rule, but as long as that yellow rock doesn't come out of play, you get rid of the stagger.
So on that hypothetical shot, Sam, do you think, like, what kind of weight would you throw at that? Like a control-ish, normal-ish?
You could throw peel as long as you hit the what you're looking at, the left side of the rock.
I see. I like this. Sorry, go ahead.
It just gets rid of the stagger, being up 3 with. Obviously, every rock is a bad rock.
If you're Team Prenevost.
Yeah. If you're Team Inglis, you want to guard that stagger now.
Yeah. And I just wanted to make a comment on that last stone from Team Prenevost. They know it was heavy, they recognized it, so they brought it back to not have it potentially hindering them later in the end. So that was a really good heads-up play by the team. Real big sweep to get it over the hog line here.
That's a great spot, too. They left the rock in a great spot. You can hear it, even though they're down 3, you can hear it in Chris's voice that they're putting all the effort into every shot. Not giving up.
Yeah, the intensity is definitely there, and in early season games, that's what you like to see.
Absolutely. It's a great peel. And Chris is gonna, we're probably gonna see at least 2 more guards, probably 3. Probably won't go into the rings until Sam's last stone, I imagine.
Seems like they're potentially calling a heads-up play, trying to bring it into the rings here. If it has the legs on it.
It's hard to get rid of all 3 stones. Matt thinks they'll spin up, so I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think just nice and simple. Clear the center. Try to make sure you have an open hit for your last one if you're Matt.
Yeah, I agree. Get rid of 1. If you can get rid of 2, that's absolutely great. And if Matt's right and it does spin up,
seems like a bit of a positive release by Cameron. Not the result they were looking for, but at least there's no more stagger on the center.
yeah, if you're looking, if you look for a positive there, the stagger's gone. But if your team angles, like we've been saying all game, you gotta take advantage of the miss and put this top 4 foot. You could argue throwing another guard here. It's only Vice's first, but if your team angles and team Prenevost has to throw against 4, that's your goal, right?
That's an optimistic goal, but I mean that is probably what Chris is thinking out there.
Yes, it is. It's a guard, so now they're going to try and line it up. Big shot here for Team Prenevost, clearing out the front. If Austin can get rid of 2 yellows, it makes his life easier for his last. Wyatt's trying to pop this rock out.
It's really close there. It's not bad.
Yeah, if it hits it just a little bit thinner, you probably even get the one in the rings too.
Yeah.
Really close for angles. You want to put this just biting center line, full 8 foot, maybe even full 4 foot, because you got to fit 2 more stones under those guards. So.
Yep.
Trying to get this to curl. Just under curled. Just under curled on them there. It's been not curling as much on that side as the first game.
Yeah.
Could be the fact that it was just a pebble and nip and it wasn't a scrape.
True. Could be also a difference in releases, potentially, from the teams we saw versus the teams here now.
Yep. Big shot here. Austin makes this. It's for the win. He makes the double. Boston makes it for the win. And handshakes. Team Prenevost comes out on top in the first game of the men's draw with a finishing score of 6-3.
And it was a really close one, Sam. I mean,
Yeah.
I know the scoreboard, that fifth end really made a difference on the scoreboard, but the momentum was there for both teams, battling back and forth. And I mean, it's early days in this tournament.
Absolutely. I think you have to go back to the fourth end when Matt made that great board weight double or control weight double for 2. That kept the momentum in their favor, and I think that's why they got the steal of 2 and 5. But great first men's draw, and we look forward to the women's draw later tonight.
Yes, we do. And I don't know. I was like, how do I get the sign off?
You just say goodbye.
Yeah, bye everyone.